What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pitt Panthers versus Tennessee Volunteers preview and prediction for this Saturday. Now, both Pitt and Tennessee are 1-0. Tennessee winning 38-6 over Bowling Green. Pitt winning 51-7 over UMass. In my personal opinion, this matchup is not even close. Both Pitt and Tennessee, they're not the same team. I believe Pitt has more talent. I believe Pitt has more speed, more depth, more experience, and just overall better coaches. Now, granted, whatever was going on with Tennessee before, something about recruiting violations and everything, let's put all that to the side. Let's put the inexperience to the side, shall we? Because anything can happen on any given Saturday in the college world of football. For instance, we could lose this game. It's very much possible. We're Pitt. What do you expect? We lose games we shouldn't. And then we beat teams we shouldn't. Clemson. I'm pretty sure that stings. Anyway. Sorry, I have new piping down here, and you can hear the water going down the pipes every time someone uses a sink or flushes the toilet. It's actually kind of funny. Float. Never mind. Anyway, whoever is watching, you can come up on the panel if you like. Says I got one viewer. All right. You don't have to put your face on camera. Oh, man. But so back to the preview and prediction. Take all that aside, the recruiting violations, the transfer portal, the inexperience, new coaches, new players, yada, yada, yada. Tennessee can beat Pitt. Hail to Pitt. John Waffle, welcome to the stream. Joe Milton threw for 140 yards passing. That's it. Couple interceptions, and he ran for a couple of touchdowns. Now, those two rushing touchdowns is what makes this win over Bowling Green seem good per Tennessee standards. Two very important facts I'd like to point out about that game. One, Joe Milton threw a couple of interceptions. Actually, there's a bunch. One, Joe Milton threw a bunch of interceptions. I think 3. 2, he also got sacked 3 to 4 times. And the most important factor is Bowling Green's quarterback statistically had a better game than Joe Milton. The problem is Bowling Green's offense could not capitalize getting into the red zone. I watched that game in full. People posted the in full game on YouTube, and I watched it. I didn't watch the highlights or anything like that. I watched the whole entire game. Tennessee was this close to handing Bowling Green that game. Bowling Green handed Tennessee that game. They're like, here, this is too easy getting into the red zone, so we'll just give you the points, even if we blow you out, or even if you blow us out. So Joe Milton had thrown, I think, over 20 passes, maybe about 25, only completed 14 of them for 147 yards, which is probably about 10 to 15 yards per pass, but that's not a lot of pass plays for a high-tempo offense. The one bright spot I will give Tennessee credit for is they can run the ball. They can run. Both their running backs had 100 yards rushing. But I guarantee you that ain't going to be the case come next week, because we're expecting that. We're expecting Tennessee to try to use a two-headed monster the same way UCF did and lost. Granted, they came back in that game, but they still lost. A win is a win. I don't care. Tennessee's receiving game, or their receivers, can't catch. Dropped so many balls, it's not even funny. It's like they're all gay. And I'm probably going to catch a lot of hate for that, but oh well. Tennessee at times looked like they were about to blow it. And I'm sitting here watching that game, actually right here, exactly where my cellular device is, sitting here watching it, sipping on some Yingling. If y'all don't know what that is, the best fucking beer Pennsylvania has ever made. And no, I do not like Iron City, John Waffle. I fucking hate that beer. Every time I drink it, I get diarrhea. Back to the issue at hand, Tennessee. Joe Milton scrambled more times than I've ever seen any other quarterback scramble. And Kenny Pickett chooses to scramble half the time. A good chunk of the time, it's because UMass got pressure. And the thing is, UMass did get pressure on us. UMass's receivers were able to get separation from our secondary, because our secondary is young, inexperienced. They have talent, but they just don't have the experience. Now, where it will become difficult for Tennessee is when our offensive line, in my opinion, gets after Joe Milton. If Joe Milton scrambles, it's over. If Joe Milton scrambles, it's over. If he stands in the pocket, it's over. If he moves at all, it's over. Tennessee needs to put in a different quarterback. Now, people are like, well, what about Hendon Hooker? Anybody not remember what we did to Hendon Hooker last year? Sacked him 8 times. 8. Hendon Hooker became our bitch when we played Virginia Tech. It absolutely dismantled, absolutely dismantled Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech never led in that game. We did. Virginia Tech didn't even, actually, I think they may have gotten in within 7, but after that, it was just all Pitt. So, Tennessee, their keys to the game are going to be throw the ball. Throw the ball, because you're not going to run it. And even if you do, your receivers are going to drop the ball. So the only way you're going to beat us is if you do it through the air. Now, when I think back to the Bowling Green and Tennessee game, I keep forgetting that Tennessee only managed to score 14 points in the first half. They didn't even score in the second quarter. Tennessee did not score at all in the second quarter. So if Tennessee is really better than us, like some Voltards claim, How come you couldn't score in the second quarter? And then Tennessee fans will try to be like, well, you only scored 13 against UMass. Okay, and we also beat them 51-7. We had 23 points by the end of the first half. What did Tennessee have? 14. Oh. Anyway, on to the Pittsburgh Panthers. I don't like using notes. I have them down here. The only time I'll use notes is when it comes to like political college world, like who gets what if who beats who. I just like previewing and predicting the games. That's all I am. I'm not some sports analyst. I don't put all my time and effort into doing this. This is just something I like to do on the side. But on to the Pittsburgh Panthers. Pitt Panthers had a great game against UMass. First quarter, you could definitely see the struggles. But after that, I think we finally settled down and got into a rhythm. Now, the one bright spot that I am, not grateful. The one bright spot that I noticed, Rodney Hammond. Rodney Hammond is only 5'9", 175. He has to be bigger than that. Vincent Davis is 5'8", 175. Kitty, get over here. Get. Rodney Hammond's bigger than 175, guys. But I will be right back. Hold on 1 second. I got to mute the mic. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Oh. John Waffle, are you still here? But back to the predictions at hand. So I watched. I was actually watching the UMass versus Pitt game as it was going on. And I even watched the previews afterwards. I was about to say I didn't, but I even watched the previews as you know, on YouTube, like everybody else does. And there are a couple of things that do concern me. Besides Rodney Hammond being the bright spot of the running back core, I feel the defensive line isn't as quick as it could be. Now, people are saying losing Rashad Weaver and Patrick Jones, I mean, great players, definitely deserve to be in the Pitt Hall of Fame eventually. But with the inexperience we have, that does concern me a little bit. Tennessee did pick up some good players from the transfer portal, but they also lost a crap ton of people at the same time. Whew, Max is starting to get really hungry. I lost my train of thought, guys, because to tell you the truth, and I kind of felt, actually, it's not that I did feel bad because everybody knows who Golden Blue Dude is, and I'm not going to put his personal business out there, but me and him have the same health problems. And that's all I'm going to say. But he even sat there and said, as much as he hates the Pittsburgh Panthers, he sees them possibly winning the Coastal. He sees them going 9-3, which is right around where I had it. But after week 1, my predictions have changed completely. All right, I have us dropping a game against Virginia Tech. I have us beating both UNC and Miami. 10-2. 10-2 will be the Pitt Panthers, and it will be Pitt versus Clemson for the ACC championship if we don't beat Clemson. If we somehow beat Clemson, North Carolina, and Miami, and we win out, which is very difficult as a Pitt Panther fan to even fathom that could even be possible. Because I don't think it is. Not with the talent we have. Next year, yes. This year, no. 100% I believe Pitt will win the ACC championship next year. I do believe DJ is gone. I do believe what's his face? Sam Howell is gone. All the good ACC quarterbacks are going to be gone, even Kenny Pickett. This next year will be time for Pitt to shine. But back to Pitt versus Tennessee. Pitt threw for over 340 yards passing against UMass, and they also rushed for over 200 yards. Now, what makes the rushing attack look weak is we had multiple running backs. I think 4 of our running backs got over 40 yards rushing. So that's about 150, 160 yards between 4 players on very little carries. Not a lot of carries. Very little carries. I think Rodney Hammond, he had the most. He had 9 carries for 60 yards, I believe. 9 carries for 60 yards, which was about 8 to 10 yards average per carry. And I'm telling you what, guys, 5'9", 175, I don't care. He is bigger than 175. There is no way Rodney Hammond is that small, and people couldn't bring him down. People couldn't even bring Daniel Carter down, and he's much bigger than Rodney Hammond. Daniel Carter is 5'10", 230. Izzy Abanikanda is 6 foot, 215 pounds. I mean, our run game will be hella improved this year, but I am worried about the receiving corps. But anyway, the total offense for the Pitt game versus UMass, Pitt put up over 600 yards of total offense. 616 to be exact. And with that being said, my final prediction for Pitt versus Tennessee, I have, as much as I want this to be a blowout, I just don't see it happening. My prediction, Pitt 38, Tennessee 20. No, actually, no, I'll take that back. Oh, yes, the fuck we are, Homer Simpson. We are going to kick their ass. Pitt 34, Tennessee 20. Pitt 34, Tennessee 20. I think it will be tied by halftime. I do. And I think Pitt will run the clock the second quarter. Ain't that right, Kitty? Kitty agrees. Panther Kitty. Kitty, do you think Pitt will win? And, okay, Homer Simpson, did you watch the Pitt and Tennessee game, or not the Pitt and Tennessee game, the Bowling Green and Tennessee game and the Pitt and UMass game? Did you watch both? And what was your thoughts on that Pitt versus UMass game? What was your thoughts on that? Hey, Kitty. But oh, and Homer Simpson, if you want to hop up on the panel, go up to the go in the comment section and look under the link I posted there. You don't have to show your face. There is an option to turn off the camera so I don't see you, but I will be able to hear you. Oh, yeah. You want to know what surprised me, Homer, about the UMass game? Is UMass never quit. UMass never quit at all. Bowling Green gave up. They kept throwing the ball to Tennessee. And even when they gave up, they were still driving in the Tennessee territory the whole game. Yeah, and to further Homer's point, he says once they figured out what worked and what doesn't, we blew them out. Literally. And I did see that. I wish I would have went to the UMass game, but unfortunately I couldn't. I had other things planned already for that day. I went out to eat with friends, and we planned that for months. And I'm not canceling on them. I'm not the type of person that cancels plans. Exactly. UMass never, ever quit. UMass never quit. They kept fighting. They were able to get separation from our secondary, like I said. So my final prediction for Pitt versus Tennessee, Pitt 34, Tennessee 20. I believe that we will go into the halftime tied, and then we will win. Anyway, guys, I'd like to thank you all for coming by for this quick video. I am going to go make dinner. I'm having Parmesan crusted chicken, boneless Parmesan crusted chicken with roasted potatoes and either Brussels sprouts or asparagus. I'm not sure. Thank you all for stopping by on this live stream. I probably will do another one later on tonight, but even if I don't, you will see me do a either a watch stream, or you will see me do a after show. Homer Simpson, I appreciate you coming by. John Waffle, hell to Pitt, Tennessee ain't shit, and West Virginia still sucks.